The following is a mechanically reproduced announcement, previously recorded from a live scheduled program on 24.7 The Stream. This is not a live broadcast. All guests, callers, and hosts granted 24.7 The Stream permission to be recorded. This program may contain strong language or topics not suited for younger listeners. Parental discretion is advised. Thank you for listening to 24.7 The Stream.
Welcome to InformNation Radio. Here we are, your host, Alex Gabriel.
And David Zick.
Here we are today on April 6, 2015. What a great day it is today.
You know what? It is a great day. You know why?
Why is it a great day, David?
Isn't it your birthday today?
You know what? It is my birthday today,
You know what?
actually.
And for you, Alex, I got a little happy birthday song for you.
Oh, thank you, thank you. We're...
Alex. Do you? Yeah, well,
thank
happy
you.
birthday.
Well, thank you, David. Thank you.
How old are you today?
I'm turning 24.
24 years young. Wow.
Yes. You know, now I'm in my mid-20s. That's weird. That's weird to be in your mid-20s now.
I feel like, even though no matter how old we get, we still kind of, retain the same, your body gets older.
Yeah.
Your mind stays how it is.
Yeah. And the old thing with the 24, the number gets to you a little bit because it's like, now it's like the mid-20s. Like before, like the 3 and the 4, I think are totally are two different. So going from 23 to 24, I felt like, oh, it's young when I was 23. Now I'm like, I'm an old man. No, I'm just.
Hey, I'm just looking toward 25 so my insurance can go down, right?
That's what I say. Or like, one more year until I get my insurance down. Then
after 25, it's just smooth. Sorry, bad to say this, but it's just smooth sailing to the grave.
Yeah, right. Isn't there something with the whole insurance, health insurance, when you turn 25? Is it 25 or 26?
26 when that whole like Obamacare thing comes in. Or
Wait, what are you saying over there, Todd? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Until then,
Yeah. So I can't wait for that. I can't wait for the down on the car insurance. But no, it feels good being 24. It doesn't feel too differently being the age that I am now. I mean, I'm just a little bit older. I'm a day wiser, I guess. So, I'm a new person.
You make me feel like kind of young, I'm just 23.
Well, there you go then.
My birthday's in November, and I'm just like, now I'm just counting down the days.
David's the younger one in the group. David's he's the youngest gun that we have out here. It's still 23. Got another 6 months to go until your birthday.
Someone's got to hold up the bag.
Yeah, right.
This thing, right.
Right. But yeah, I mean, 24, getting older. I like to use the words 24 years young. I think that. I mean, I am still young, right?
You're only as old as you feel, right?
Yeah, right. So I
Even
feel
the people
young.
out there that are like 50-something, it's like, do you allow yourself to be 50-something?
Yeah.
Or are you keeping like a young mentality about yourself?
I think myself personally, I keep a pretty young mentality, and then at other times, like, man, I feel old sometimes. I mean, I don't know, just some of the things that I think of and whatnot, and I don't know, like sometimes, you ever, you know what I'm saying? Like you feel older.
Yeah.
Like I feel like past my time, or like you're an old soul.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's those things like new souls, old souls. I feel like an older soul, like, oh man, maybe I know a little bit more about, at least about myself, I guess, than some things.
Let's
I
get
don't
a
know.
little wiser.
Yeah, right?
Every day brings a little bit of wisdom.
Yeah. Now, the wisdom that we wanted to bring today to the show is actually going to be about freedom. And,
Freedom.
earlier this week I was sitting at work, and I'm sitting there, and I'm watching some videos. I was watching, actually, the Raw Bras on YouTube, actually. A pretty good YouTube channel. They're all about, like, open mind, eating good, feeling good, being honest and everything. And they were talking about, being able to talk freely, being honest with your words. And I was thinking about freedom at the same time, because I was also thinking about, well, we need a topic for this week's show. And I want to do it on what does it mean to be free, because I think it goes very far into, how you talk, how you act, the environment that you live in, the culture that we have. It all kind of determines freedom, right? Or is freedom stands at like at a personal point? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like each person, freedom's different to them?
Yeah, I would say so, because, I put that out on Facebook, like, what does it mean to be free? And I saw a lot of people commenting, and every comment was different. And I almost came to the realization that freedom, though it's like a thing for all, it's almost like a subjective type question, because you're only as free as like what you are and what you want to do is your freedom. So to people like us, we support freedom, so we want freedom for all. But there's some people that are comfortable at where they are, and then they think that that's freedom, and to them that is their freedom, is to be comfortable in what they are.
Yeah, I mean, the question was posted on Facebook, and I want to read a couple of these comments that we had here from what I posted on Facebook. I said, "What does it actually mean to be free?" ? And one of my good friends that does a lot of our graphic design, which recently we just had our InformNation business cards made.
Yes.
Actually, I have some here with me that I'm going to leave in the studio. I'm going to show Todd probably on our next break. I'll show him the new cards. But it's, what does it mean to be free? And I tagged some of my friends in it to see kind of what their ideals were on freedom. And one of my good friends, Danny Noya, said, "To speak freely, wear what you feel, act as you will, be yourself, and not let the opinions or judgments of others bother you. Then you are only truly free." So, I mean, if we break that down, speak freely, wear what you feel, act as you will, be yourself. I think being yourself is definitely freedom.
Yes.
If you have to act, I mean, even if you're around like friends that you can't be yourself around, I think that's not freedom then.
Because you're just living in a restriction.
Yeah, because you're like holding back who you actually are and not letting it out. So I think that would be a form of freedom, right? So there'd be, as I'm thinking about it now, there would be freedom on like a societal basis, freedom in society.
Yeah, and then a freedom like on a personal basis.
Yeah, like a freedom with maybe your friends, like a relationship freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could have freedom of thought.
Yeah.
Right? So there's different types of freedom. Actually, what I'm thinking about right now, I'm just coming to the conclusion of this maybe right now in the air. But, I mean, freedom is mind, it is society, freedom in your body.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine this, if you're not treating your body well, you're not eating the right things or working out or stretching or doing yoga, is your body free then?
That's something really to think about.
Like, can you do, what you really wanted to do with the body that you have? It's like, oh, I want to go play soccer or whatever, but you're really out of shape. Are you free? I don't know.
That kind of gets to you.
I don't know. Like, is that freedom? Because like you got to treat your body to have your body be free. Because your body wants to move, it wants to play.
It's almost like you've restricted your own freedom by going down the path that you've chosen to go down.
Yeah.
Which is again your own freedom.
Yeah.
But by leading that path of what you want to be as free, you've restricted yourself to so many other things because you're out of shape.
Yeah.
So you've given up your freedom on being in shape and taking care of yourself. So now that you can't take care of yourself, you're restricting yourself to other things.
Now I think that goes as far as like, does that person actually want to go play those sports or do the rock climbing? Like that's his freedom or her freedom. Not to say like I don't want to do that, and so that really doesn't make me free. But now, in a deep down like inside of that person, like in their mind, are they sitting there thinking, hey, like I really want to do this, but I can't. And like they might feel kind of pushed down, not free.
I hate that word can't. I can't.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to do this, but I can't. Why? And then they just sit there like, whoa, blah, 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 and they give you a runaround answer on why they can't.
Yeah.
But they haven't come to the conclusion with themselves that they can, they just don't want to.
Yeah. So it all depends on if they want to do it then.
Mm-hmm.
So it all depends on, but then kind of does it go back to I think we were talking about before being like your own mental jailer. Then you're not free in your mind then, right?
Yeah. Because
I mean,
you hold the keys to yourself.
Yeah, you definitely hold the keys to yourself and being free. And then if you want to go out there and play the game, I don't know. Freedom's weird. I'd say that. Because the definition of freedom, because I was actually looking up some statistics, and I was looking at a couple different things, and they're saying that America, if we want to compare freedom to like a happiness sort of thing, like a lot of other countries, United States is not the happiest country. Actually, most countries are like third world tribal countries that feel the happiest. And actually, America's like the richest country, but we're not the happiest. Now, does happiness derive in freedom?
That's almost a give and take, because it's almost like what makes us free, and then what makes those people free? Like are they free is that they just can go buy a bunch of things. Like some people say, like, oh, wear what I want, go buy what I want. I mean, is that freedom?
I don't really think. I mean,
people on the other side of the world are happy the way they are.
So I mean, it's all perspective at that point. I mean, it's all relative
to like the lifestyle you're living and the culture you're living.
It's like what you know and what you don't know. It's like if I never grew up with living in America, being able to go to the store or going online or using my phone or getting a certain job that I really wanted to do, and maybe in another society I have to go pick corn or go, sow and reap for the village and everything like that. Now, do they feel free? Because they kind of have to go do those things in order for the village to carry on the way of life that they had. So are they actually free, or do they view it as being free? You get what I'm saying? Or do they not view it as freedom? They're just like, oh, this is just how it is.
To me, I mean, just being able to be self-sufficient like that, I think would be like the ultimate form of freedom, because there's no dependence upon anything else. Like your food grows over here in your field, so you know that's where your food comes from. You don't have to rely on a store or some type of other like work or like corporation that runs the food in order for you to get your food. You are free to get your own food when you want. You're free to not get your food if you want.
You have freedom to grow what you want. You have freedom to eat what you want.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go to anybody to get these certain things to eat.
Yeah.
It's like I don't have to work a job in order to pay for the food at my house. If I don't want to work the job but I'm still growing the food, I still have this shelter that I built that I don't have to pay taxes to the government on. That's free, right? I mean that's freedom. I mean the whole idea that we're living in houses that we have to pay taxes on, I don't think that's necessarily free.
No, not at all.
I mean, I think there's, I agree with America, and I think America is probably one of the more freer countries that we actually have. We're allowed to do things. I mean, we're sitting here on the show today. I'm on the internet. I could go do whatever I want on the internet. I could talk to you about whatever I want. Now, I think that's freedom. Now, the question is, I have to go to work tomorrow, and I have to go take that paycheck and go pay for the car that I have and everything like that. Now, is that freedom? Because I have to almost do that and get those jobs to actually live in society.
That goes like with a saying. It's like to be a slave, you don't have to just be wearing chains of iron. You don't have to be like a field slave where you're forced to do work to be a slave. You just have to be obligated.
So obligation kind of takes away your freedom?
Yeah, because you basically, in a sense, signed on to what the benefactor would want you to do in order to receive the benefit of the money or something like that. You've allowed yourself to go and work for this person and do this for them, and they dictate how much money you get, what you can do in your job, and then it's almost like a bit of slavery almost.
Yeah,
kinda.
It's like the whole the Stefan Molyneux thing that I watch about like human slavery, tax slaves, and everything, and how we live in a society where other men, other colleagues of ours keep us down, or our own mental jailers, yada yada yada. We're sitting there and we're being held back, and kind of saying, okay, well we have to do this, we have to go to college, we have to do that, and it's like, well, am I really free? Like I think about some things like where I work or the people who I'm around or friends or family and everything. And I think well, if I'm not allowed to say certain things to people, am I really free? Am I really free to preach what I want? If you spoke out against Pepsi, would that be free?
No.
Would they fire you?
See, that's a bad thing. It's I can't, though I don't agree with everything that the Pepsi Corporation is involved in, I'm almost restricted to come out and talk about it and preach out about it in fear that I might lose my job or something like that because, it's slander toward the company.
Yeah, but it's not, we all have to do what we have to do. And I understand that. And there's a certain thing about freedom where, I'd like to speak out against certain things.
Me too.
And, certain things, even in my job, there's certain things that I'd like to be able to say to people or whatnot, but, you're kind of restricted from doing so. Mm-hmm. Even the whole idea of slander, even being on the radio show, it's well, what if another company came after you for saying something about them? It's well, I was just being honest.
Can you even get caught up in getting sued for slander if it's true? Like saying McDonald's puts garbage in their food.
Yeah.
Or like fake ingredients in their food. Like, could I be then sued for that? For telling the truth?
I mean, it's the truth. I'm just telling you, like, what you guys are doing. Like, I know what you guys are doing, and I'm just telling everybody about it. Would they get you in trouble for that? I don't think that's
not
actually
freedom.
free. I don't actually think
Because
that's
you're
free.
obligated toward the company to act a certain way.
Yeah.
And even outside of work, you can't even be talking like that. Because even out here on the radio, I can't like sit here and like slander my company, because even though I'm outside of work and I'm not working, then that would still be bad. So you're almost restricted in that.
See, they're almost taking the workplace. Excuse me, I had like a burp there. They're taking like the workplace and moving it to outside of work, like what you're doing outside of work,
Yes.
depending on if you're free. Like what I say outside, it's like, who cares what I say outside of work, long as I'm doing my job, long as, you know, I'm doing good, you know, customer bases are good, I'm getting everything done on time, yada, yada, yada. You can't tell me what I'm saying outside of work. You have no control over that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm still my own person. Like I don't belong to this corporation. Like I'm
Yeah.
not. I mean, I get like there's some sort of idea that I'm like an entity of it. Like I work for the corporation and everything like that. But you can't ultimately say that you dictate everything I do in my life now. You can't
Yeah.
dictate my thoughts.
True. But hey, when we come back, we're going to break down a little bit more about freedom. We're going to give the definition of freedom. And we're going to really spark your mind.
And we're going to open up the phone lines.
We're going to open up the phone lines, open up the chat, join us in chat, and we're going to talk about, are you free?
And what is freedom? But we'll hear from you after this. And we are back. 25 minutes past the hour across the world. Here we are in Naperville, Illinois.
Sound like those like sports broadcasters. And we're back.
Like back in like the 30s or
Yeah,
40s.
like
a little horse racing.
Yeah.
And we're here, and the horse is going faster than number 2 is moving up there.
And they're making a left turn.
Yeah.
And another left turn.
And a left
and a
turn.
left turn up here.
And a left turn. But anyways, here we are back, InformNation, back at ya. We're talking about freedom, trying to figure out over here what in God's name does freedom mean.
Let's give the definition of freedom.
Well, I got it right here. Definition of freedom: the power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint.
Here's another one. The absence of subjugation to foreign domination or despotic government.
So that's like no external forces conveying themselves on your life.
Yes.
So you doing what you want to
There's
do.
also a third one. The state of not being imprisoned or enslaved.
Okay. Well, what do you think? Do you think we're imprisoned? Do you think we're slaved? Like, what's your idea? Let me ask you that. Let me ask you, David.
You want
over
to get in
here.
David's head real
Yeah, let's
quick
get
about
David.
freedom?
Let's get in David's head what David thinks about freedom.
Freedom
Freedom to David.
Freedom to me is very important, because without it, especially this country wouldn't be around, because at the beginning of this country, America, when it was first started, was a great idea because it was the only country that really set people free in their own right. People before that, all throughout the Middle Ages, all throughout time, were not free and equal. There was the ruling class, and then there was the peasants, who had no rights, had no nothing, except they were just tithed to the land and required by the lord of the land to work and just live their lives according to that.
Mhm.
But in America, it literally broke that concept of a whole chain of the ruled and the rulers, where the people, all of us, were the rulers of ourselves and the way of life around us. And that's what really set America apart. But for me, freedom is, it's so deep, it's like hard to say, you know? It's like I live my life free to do what I want, but almost to effect, you really can't do what you want. I mean, there is laws and restrictions that like govern people, which is almost like a moral code that goes across society.
Yeah.
But freedom is definitely being taken away here in America, and we can all feel it and sense it.
I mean, yeah, it's like the police state getting bigger.
There's more and more laws about everything
Mhm.
that restrict you. Like, you can't do this, you can't do this now, and you can't do this now. It's like,
Yeah.
first of all, when will I not be able to do almost anything anymore
Too many laws.
without asking permission?
Especially here in Illinois, there's a lot of laws.
Illinois, this is they call it Cook County, but I like to call it Crook County.
Yeah.
Because all those people, they're all a bunch of crooks.
And the thing I think with being freedom, I think you can't worry about what other people are going to think of you if you want to be free.
Mm-hmm.
Because, what you're going to believe, what you're going to say might piss a lot of people off.
That's the one thing about the truth, is when you speak the truth, you piss everyone off.
And then, I was thinking about this, going back to the Constitution and everything, and I was having a conversation with my coworker, and we were talking about the Constitution and everything, and how it was first brought out as a republic, and now we're starting to move into a democracy, except some people call it a democratic republic. We should just strictly be a republic. But we were talking about when they first made the Constitution, they actually said, and I believe you might be able to bring this up a little better than me, you know a lot about the Constitution and everything, is that the Constitution was set forth for landowners.
Yeah.
For the smarter crowd.
That's the one thing people don't understand about America, is that the first people who were able to vote were landowners. Not everybody had the right to.
Not the average Joe.
It was just strictly the entitled and, like you can say, the rich who were able to pull sway in things and get things done. Is that they didn't leave it as a total democracy to the common people, because they even really know?
Because it was pretty much saying, like, you only have, your one Albert Einstein, you only have this person. Not everyone's very gifted and smart.
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly, and I don't believe this, is that long time ago, you can't give rights to the citizens for your average Joe, because they'll just put themselves in like almost an anarchy, or they'll kind of just screw everything up because they're not smart.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of where, realistically, almost our country was founded. I mean, if you say only the landowners could have it, or only if you're the landowners or the elite or anybody can come up with these laws because they're the smart ones, and you can't just leave it in the hands of an average citizen. I mean, what does that say?
Does that almost give the imperfection to the freedom of America?
Yeah, is that freedom then? At the same time, I agree. Because I agree, some people out there oh, well, freedom's this way. And it's like, well, dude, no, that's totally wrong. And some people's ideas of freedom is like, whoa.
Yeah.
But then, at the same time, who am I to say that you're wrong? You know what I mean? Because, as we're saying, it's all perspective of where your freedom's at. And it's like, how can we take away the rights from the average citizen and just leave it to the landowners? And now the landowners these days are the corporations, they're the politicians, they're the people who have really, a lot of pull in the country. I don't know. That's kind of a screwed up thought, oh, we can't leave it to the average citizen or the masses in order to come up with our laws, because if we let them do it, then everything would get screwed up.
It's like that's almost why our country is a constitutional republic and not a democracy, because a democracy is just ruled by the majority. If it's one man, one vote, the majority is going to vote themselves everything, right?
Yeah.
So in a republic, you can't have the rule of the majority, because everybody else is going to be screwed then.
Yeah.
So with the constitutional republic, is we have rights under God, and we have these certain rights that all people are equal to, even though there's been, people aren't perfect, America's not been perfect. It's set apart from everybody else because it's given people that right to be themselves and and pursue what they want to pursue without having an overlapping majority dictating what everybody else should be doing.
Yeah, so I'll put the analogy out there. You know the analogy that I'm going to bring up as well, too, with the whole republic versus democracy. For people who might not understand it as clearly, is that the difference between a democracy and a republic would be something like this. I'm going to throw an analogy out there. Is that you're a sheep. I'm just saying, I'm a sheep. Just say, for instance, I'm a sheep right now, and there's two wolves. And a democracy works like this. Well, we're going to put up to a vote that we want to eat the sheep. We're hungry, and we want to eat the sheep.
Mm-hmm.
And so the two wolves are like, well, I vote yes, and the other wolf's like, I vote yes. And I'm like, well, no, I'm the sheep. You can't eat me. And so that's a 2-1 vote.
Mm-hmm.
The wolves win. They're going to eat me.
Yeah.
And that kind of takes away my freedom of actually being able to live. And so what a republic is then is that, we go back to the voting again. The wolf says, yes, I want to eat him. The other wolf says yes, and I say no. and it's still a 2-to-1 vote, but they can't make that a law, or they can't eat me because
You have the right to live.
Yeah, I have the right to live, and that's like my constitutional right is the right to live, and so I'm protected by that paper that we signed long time ago that says, hey, I have these certain rights and you can't take away. We can vote about other things, but these certain things you can't go against me with.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between a republic and a democracy. And like you said before, if the majority is always going to vote themselves to everything, well, who's the majority these days? I mean, as you can see, as time moves on, the poor are the majority.
Mm-hmm.
They want more government funding.
Yep.
And so you're going to have more and more and more government funding, more AIDS, more health care, more, Obamacare, welfare, unemployment. All that is to the people who are the majority now, because that's what it's turning into. We're killing the country, and we're giving the majority the vote, which now the majority is the poor. And so now they keep on voting themselves everything.
Yeah.
And so that just means bigger and bigger and bigger government.
That goes back to what Lenin says. Everybody knows Lenin, right? V.I. Lenin, the founder of the Soviet Union. He said that, quote, I'm giving this off the head here, quote, democracy is indispensable to socialism. You can take a free people, well end quote at the bottom of socialism, and then here's my part. You can take a free people, turn them into a democracy, and they'll vote themselves into slavery every single time.
Oh, yeah.
Because they won't think, they only care about themselves. They don't care about, hey, if you take away freedom from one person, you've taken it away from all people.
Mm-hmm. Now, the question is that, I mean, you're taking it away. Now, did they plan on that? Did they plan on us moving from a republic to a democracy? Or is this something that just has happened over the years? And it's got kind of out of control now?
See, that goes up for debate because that's kind of hard to say that it was like America was a great experiment, a great test. You ever heard these people talk about, the great experiment, or like the grand experiment of what America was? It was an experiment is, can man rule himself? And the way people have gone is, no, they can't. Mm-hmm. They need a daddy. Yeah. They need a support, a benefactor. Mm-hmm. And what's happened is that everybody's turned from taking individual responsibility for themselves and their own lives and giving it over to, I'm too busy to make responsible decisions for myself, so therefore you just make all the decisions for us and we'll just live by them. And then there's the people that, hey, I want to take care of myself. I don't care about what you want. And then, no. The majority says that we should have everybody in a form of socialism. Yeah. And then the majority will win because people don't understand this is a republic, not a democracy.
Now the question is, with man, ruling himself, and we think that we can't have man rule himself and everything like that. But now the question is what if we taught man better? Like we were talking about external forces before, kind of playing a role on you with the TV, the radio, all the sex appeal and all the all the money and materialism and all this instant gratification. Well, what if we took things away from that and we actually started putting it towards kind of informing the public and actually really informing them? Like, they say, okay, well, how are you going to do that? We'll take all the media stations and everything and actually start pushing real stuff out there.
I know.
Because if they really want to do, they could, right?
Oh, definitely.
If they really wanted to go there and say, hey, don't do this because of this reasons. And then it's up to you if you want to do it or not. That's the freedom of it. Mm-hmm. And it's up to you to do that. But as long as they kept on pushing it, I feel like that would be a lot more beneficial than us just kind of pushing all this, lack for a better word, crap out there and just pushing reality TV shows and Life of Kim Kardashian and Kanye West's new thing. It's like, it's all dumbing down. And like it's making us not actually learn anything or actually look at our freedoms or anything like that. Like I asked my buddy, I'm like, what does it mean to be free? And he thought I was an idiot for asking him, what does it mean to be free? He's like, well, are you unhappy? Why are you asking people why they want to be free? I'm like, have you ever asked yourself that? Like, what does it mean to be free? Why don't people ask questions? And then they get pissed off at me thinking I'm an idiot for even asking them, what does it mean to be free?
That's the one thing about what's going on here, especially in this country, is that people are so caught up in everything else that's going on, they don't care what's happening in their own lives.
Yeah.
They're just going along to get along with it, and they think that that's the easier route to go. But they don't know that they're just selling themselves and their family and their whole future down the line by just going along to get along with the group.
Yeah, and then, other people say to me, and I do get this as a valid point, is like, well, you live in America, and like America's a lot better than a lot of other countries, so you should feel grateful. And I do. And don't get me wrong, I do feel very grateful for being born in the United States, and I do have these rights to me, and I'm very happy that our founding fathers did come up with these things that have lasted almost up until this point. And now it's starting to get a little bit weird with what's going on with how the government acts and everything, and how actually free we are, because now with the privacy thing and people coming and looking at our computers and listening to our phone conversations and big databases.
Speaking of that, so one of our questions in the comments from Martin is he wants us to talk about the whole phone thing and online services and how the government puts a bullseye on a person and keep watch through them from just what they post on the internet and stuff like that. And there again, there's no freedom there.
No, because you shouldn't have to be watched.
Yes, there shouldn't be any restriction or censorship out there, because why does it really matter to other people what you say?
And they'll use the thing of it, well, we're watching people on the internet for the people who want to take your rights away of the right to live and try to kill people. And it's like, okay, I get that, but I feel like they're making it worse. They're making more people want to stand against the government and almost become into these, homegrown terrorists now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, friggin' InformNation's a homegrown terrorist thing probably to them.
According to what's going on and what people think today, what we're saying here on the radio is considered radical.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to think about.
Because they're like, don't question. That's what they say. Don't question. Don't question what we're doing to you. Don't question your rights.
Yeah.
And it's screwed up. Like, why shouldn't we question? I mean, I get that I live in America and I live in a free society, but aren't I still allowed to question? I mean, isn't that the wonders of life, to ask why? I mean, you could always ask another why. You could always say, okay, well, why do you do this or why do you do that? And living here, like, I'm still going to question, and I get that I live in a free land called America and everything, but I get that I'm not living in somewhere, like, I don't know, Zimbabwe or, Africa or something, or where I have to fight for my life and fight against animals and fight against the elements of nature. And I get to live in a house and I get to have fresh water and everything like that. I don't know about fresh water. I might rather have the water out of the stream instead of the sodium fluoride water.
Filter it myself.
But, I mean, that's kind of the idea of freedom, is being like, well, why can't I say why in America?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The thing is, you don't have an opinion anymore.
Yeah.
It's the opinion of the television, of the mass control system. They give you the opinion to think about and the talking points to talk about, but anything else is just off the board.
Well, that goes back to, what's that guy's name? Sigmund Freud's nephew.
Oh, Edward Bernays?
Edward Bernays is the guy that kind of came up with the whole, when women wanted to smoke cigarettes, and actually he got like 6 or 7 women to go out in a parade smoking cigarettes, saying, okay, well, I'm a woman,
I'm a free woman,
I could smoke these cigs just like a man can. And he put that out there, and then what ended up happening? Women started smoking cigs, the whole women's right thing kicked off, and I agree with the women's rights and everything, but it's like, look, they kind of manifested that for themselves.
Yeah.
It's like they put the idea in our heads. It wasn't an original thought.
No.
They put the idea there.
This thing is about these great think tanks out there. They make the talking points and the PR statements for us to talk about. We don't make the talking points and PR statements for us to talk about. Because when you go out there and you start talking to people about certain topics like this, they kind of feel like scared and put off by you. You're a crazy person. Why are you talking like that?
Like, you're not talking about what's on the TV. Or you're not talking about what's on sports. You're not talking about the weather. And it's like, I don't like talking about that. Like, me personally, I don't like talking about bland subjects like that. Like I always ask people, like, with sports, and don't get me wrong, I like sports. Everyone gets me very wrong. They look at me like I'm a weirdo, or I'm crazy, or I'm trying to take sports away or something. I like sports. I like sports a lot. I like playing them. I like going outside. But I think the idea of actually getting, like, sucked into these sports like they're you, like, and saying, oh, we won today. No, you didn't win.
Yeah.
They won. They put their hearts out there. They put their lives out there, whatever it was, and they won.
Yeah, my cousins last night, it was Easter, we're hanging out, and we were watching the Hawks game from last night, and I realized to myself that when we were watching this Hawks game, I'm listening to my cousins talk, and they're like, oh yeah, well, we have to win this game or we're not going to go to the playoffs. And part of me thought to myself, what's this we?
Yeah.
You're not doing anything.
Yeah.
We're not doing anything. It's these people on these teams that are paid loads of money to perform
Mm-hmm.
for the franchise. They're working for their company to benefit their company to go to this playoff so they can get more money.
Yeah,
and
they're
stuff
not
like
working
that.
for you. I mean, almost they could care less about you. I
Yeah.
mean, I get that they care about you because you're the one paying their paychecks.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is when did a sports team ever help you?
Yeah.
When did a reality TV show ever help you in your life?
And that goes back to freedom, that you're not, with freedom, with great freedom comes great responsibility. And people have abdicated their responsibility.
Yeah, it's like we're always giving it over to someone else. I mean, just even in the sports saying you're already giving ownership up and you're trying to take ownership of something else.
Yeah.
It's like saying like I don't know. I don't like the whole we thing when it comes to sports, and I know probably a lot of people maybe they'll comment in or something or hate me for saying that.
Yeah, right. And speaking of we want to hear what you think about freedom.
Yeah.
Call in. Number is 630-445-1213. That's 630-445-1213. Call in. Join us in the chat. Let us know what you think about freedom. How free are you? How free is America? Where are we going in America? And yeah.
There we go. We'll hear you after this, but we'll be right back. Back at you with InformNation Radio. Here we are talking about freedom, wondering what freedom's about, wondering if I'm free, wondering if David's free, wondering if the world's free, wondering who is free.
Yeah.
And if we're all free, or we're all free in our own minds. I don't know. It's a weird subject.
Freedom is one of those like broad topics where it's so subjective to yourself if you're free or not, because you're only as free as you want yourself to be.
Yeah.
And if you live your life that says I'm free, I'm independent, I'm going to do this certain way the way I want it to myself, then you are free.
Yeah.
But if freedom also comes with the other side where it's like you're free to be obligated to do certain things. You're free to accept those benefits for giving up some of your freedom in exchange for benefits. And then wouldn't that be freedom as well? Because you're freedom to make that type of decision?
Yeah, I would think so. You know, I wanted, while you're talking about it, I was thinking about something. Sometimes I go off and I think in my own head sometimes. Sorry about that. But I have this thing we were talking about, and I thought this is a great thing for freedom, almost majority ruling or having something going on like this, is that I was talking to you about my owner, and he used to live in the city. And when he was a kid, they used to live in the south side of the city. But down in that time, back in, I don't know, 60s, 70s, whenever it was, even my grandfather lived down there then, things were, you know, a lot more suburbanish, how we are out here. And what ended up happening is that they were walking down, or he was walking to school with his sister or something like that, and one of the gang members or something was driving down the street and threw an axe at, I think it was my owner's sister, or my owner. And when they got home that day, she told her dad, and he was like, we can't be going to school anymore. We're going to go bring you to a private school. I'll drive 15, 20, 30 minutes, whatever. And then they ended up moving out of there because things got too rough in the city.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at all these deaths and everything. So like I was thinking is like, you know, we're thinking about this police state and everything that's happening these days, and they're taking away our rights, and they're searching for, you know, anything and everything that they can to get on us, and putting police in the streets and military in the streets these days, running operations that are really weird right now in Texas called the Jade Helm 15. Jade Helm 15. And I was thinking, I'm like, well, you know, there's always another side of the story. And I was thinking, well, if I was that little girl, if I was that little girl's parents or my owner's parents, I'd want probably some more police on my streets too if things of like that were happening to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we live out in the suburbs. And in the suburbs, you know, it's pretty quaint out here. Like, we have it pretty nice. Live in Bloomingdale. We're down in Naperville, even nicer of a town down here. I mean, we're all around really good people and everything like that. And I guess if I started having, you know, axes or knives or bullets thrown my way, I'd probably want to be like, well, where's the police? Put more of them.
Yeah.
And you'd be scared. You'd be scared into getting more police. Now, maybe you should have a gun to protect yourself, and if everyone had a gun, then maybe that guy wouldn't have thrown an axe at you, because then you'd be carrying a gun and you could just shoot him.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's right to shoot him or anything, but I mean, it is what it is. If someone's throwing an axe at me, you're going to get shot.
I'm going to take my gun out to defend myself.
Yeah, it's a life or death sort of situation.
Whether I pull the trigger or not is, you know, subjective.
Yeah, and
to
then
the
where
point,
I pull
but-
the trigger at, if it's going to be in your chest, if it's going to be in your head, if it's going to be in your leg.
Yeah.
I'd probably try to shoot for the leg and just, bring the guy down, but you never know what ends up happening in the situation. Your life's at risk. So I don't think anyone could say that unless their life is actually at risk.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's all, it's all relative to, I guess, where you are, because then I'm thinking about it, well, I don't like this police thing, but what if, like, the people down in the city do? Like, that's where a lot of people live these days, is the urban areas.
Yeah.
The cities, where it is dangerous, where there is a lot of weirdos out there, because, I mean, in Chicago, you almost have 3 million people living in a couple square miles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a lot of people that a lot of different personalities, a lot of different characteristics, all living in this, like, close little knit area, and, you never know what one of those people are going to do.
I know.
And then you got to worry about the police state then. I mean, I don't know, man.
It's very. It's gotten to the point where I can't tell if it's just happened like this, or it's just another dialectic of things where they amp up the crime in order to, because they want the police state in place. So what they did was, like, I can't tell if they just amped up the crime to usher in, to give a logical explanation to usher in the police state, or has just society gone that way and now the police state just has to be there.
I actually was looking up something talking about ushering in crime. I mean, you can almost think about the CIA flying in back in, like, Rick Ross, the actual real Rick Ross, the drug dealer that used to live out in California.
Yeah.
And the CIA, with, what is his name, Peter North, or what's that guy?
Oh,
Oliver North.
Yeah.
Talking about the CIA flying in drugs from South America, selling cocaine on the streets, everything like that. That's very prevalent. I don't know if anyone knows about that, but yes, it is true. The CIA was flying in cocaine to the United States and selling it.
Still is.
And still is. They're the ones bringing in the drugs. I mean, I get it. Probably some cartel are, but they're probably letting them, or they're working in force with them, because they're pushing in drugs to our society. And I was watching something the other day about the opium wars in China a long, long time ago, back in the 1850s, on 1840s. And what ended up happening is that China was pretty much self-sustaining. They were sustainable, talking about how we talk about freedom, not relying on anybody else, doing their own thing, having their own rules. And they used to have, like, one market that was kind of free. They had a free market where they could bring in a couple other things from other countries, and people would barter and trade there.
Okay.
And then it was called Canton. And ended up, Canton was kind of the British and everything, one of their huge things that they're trading in Canton to these Chinese was opium. And the reason they were trading the opium is because the Chinese loved it. It was one of the things that British had. They had opium because they were trading with India, and India had a lot of the opium. And so they would trade that for services and everything in China. Well, it ended up opium started to become really big over there, and a lot of people started trading it, and a lot of it started getting shipped over there. So what ended up happening was the Chinese did not like that, because a lot of their people were turning into, like, opium addicts, and they had a lot of these opium dens and everything like that, and a lot of things started going haywire. So what they did was they shut down Canton and said, no, we're not doing any more foreign trading. We're done with that. We're not letting anybody in anymore. And the British got pissed off because they're like, wow, that was a lot of our money. And so what ended up happening is the British went over there and started a war with the opium wars. That's what they call them. You can look it up on the internet. They started these opium wars with China and ended up beating China. And they ended up signing this treaty. I can't think of the Canton Treaty or something, but it was also called the Unequal Treaty, because British didn't have to give up anything for this treaty. So it's totally unequal, all on the Chinese side.
They just wanted their market.
Yeah, so they ended up having to open up the markets, and China ended up having to take their stuff. And then they also got Hong Kong out of it, too. And that's another story. But anyways, they started bringing in the opium, and British started bringing in more and more and more opium. And what did it do? Crippled China for the longest time, because the opium got way too big, the whole country was doped up, and it just fell. And it kept on falling and falling and falling years and years after that. And that's kind of almost like what I feel like, is our government trying to do that to us? Like, is there someone trying to infiltrate drugs into our system so we cripple ourselves?
I could say yeah, because, I mean, if you look at the whole cycle, I was thinking about this in the shower. It was weird that you kind of bring this up. I have a lot of great thoughts in the shower. You're by yourself, you have some time. So I was thinking about this. It was the whole cycle of the whole drug war versus the whole prison industry. And it kind of goes like this. They ship in the drugs, right? And they're illegal. So that hypes the price up, because now you only have to go to select people to get these illegal drugs. They make them legal, right? So they ship in the drugs, your average common person goes and gets these drugs. and starts using them. And then they have the police, which is the enforcement arm, that is out there in this whole drug war, restricting everybody from getting all these drugs. And now that they've caught you with these drugs, they throw you into a prison system. Now, the prison system makes money off how many people are in the prison. So their prison system is getting more and more money from the drug war, which all these people are getting sucked up in and getting convicted and brought into this prison system. So now you're in the prison system. And now what do? All you know how to do is be a criminal in jail, right? 'Cause it's just full of criminals.
Yeah, it's a cycle. It's like...
So now when you come out of the prison, you've just been indoctrinated into the whole prison lifestyle. So you come back out, you've been in prison for so long, all you know is to do is commit crime, so you go right back to the crime.
Yeah.
And now they just catch you again, they put you back in prison. It's just a vicious
It's a cycle, and they're putting more and more people into these prisons. Like, they have a lot of these privatized prisons now that aren't even run by the state, and they're trying to load them, because what ends up happening is the government pays these private prisons, like you're saying, per inmate. So as much as they can, they're going to push in as many inmates as they can. They're overstocked. It's like cattle in there.
Yeah.
There's way too many of them, all squished in little quarters, little cells. And then you're stuck into the system now. Now when you get out, like you said, you're screwed.
It's like, where is the freedom right
Yeah.
there? It's like society has now bred everybody to go through this entire cycle of things. So when you go to prison, there is no freedom, right? And when you get out, all you know is
Crime.
Is the prison lifestyle and crime, and you don't get back to like, hey, I'm going to be free and do what I want, not get back into this whole prison cycle.
I think the prison system should totally change. I think that takes a lot of freedom away. I mean, friggin', so you're shipping in the drugs and you're giving me the drugs, and then you're going to arrest me for the drugs and then put me into the underground criminal lifestyle, and then I'm just going to keep on working my way back and in and out prison all over again.
So they've almost restricted society to be less free.
Yeah.
And to be almost herded like cattle into these prisons.
You know, and I was also I was having a conversation with my coworker Phil, and we like to talk a lot about this stuff, and I brought it up with you the other night, and it's almost making me think about the whole drug and cycle thing. Is maybe we should have a whole conversation.
Yes, I want to have a show about.
We should have a whole
they
conversation
are.
on they. You know, the upper hands, the elite, the people who are trying to keep you down, the people who are kind of making the rules around.
The string
here.
pullers.
Yeah, the string pullers. And maybe they are putting the drugs into our system to make us decide to kind of almost thin the herd.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they supposedly say we have too many people on the planet already. As it is. Maybe we're trying to thin the herd. We're giving people the option of saying either, hey, you know, you could go this way or you can go this way. But anyways, we're going to have a little break right now. But when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more on this idea that I had about thinning the herd, you know, what sort of things are being pushed in our society and how it's reacting with the people and where we're coming in freedom.
Sure, and if you want to know, call in 630-445-1213. Let us know what you think about all this.
See you when we get back. Freedom. Let it ring. Here we are at InformNation, giving one of our, you know, freedom rights here, freedom of press. Here, which Bill of Rights is that? Freedom of
That
Press?
is the first one. We're going to read it off.
There we go.
And we're going to break down what it really means. Here we go. First Amendment to the United States, to the Constitution of the United States of America. Amendment 1. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, I lost my breath. I lost it. Here we go. Again. Or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So we're going to break that down.
What does that mean?
Real quick. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. And all these atheists out there that always get to the point where, oh, it's the separation of church and state. It's the separation of church and state. And they use that as a crutch to degrade religion into a non-existence. But what it really is supposed to mean is, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, meaning that the Congress and the government cannot have a view on religion.
Except funny that every president runs on Christian values.
It's because majority of the people out there are Christian and hold Christian values, but this country was never set up to be Christian at all. It says right there, Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion. But it also says, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. So,
so then, like, if you're a president, you could say you're Christian.
Yeah, but you can't turn the country into a theocracy.
Yeah, but you can't do anything based upon that belief.
Exactly. So you can't come out and say, well, the Bible says this, so therefore we're going to follow it all like that.
Yeah.
But no, because not everybody believes like that.
It's not like over in, where is it, like, in those Islamic states and everything.
Yeah, where they're making it a theocracy.
Making it all about the Quran and everything.
Mm-hmm. And then we're going to break it down again. Or abridging the freedom of speech. So therefore, they can't tell you what to say.
How or what or when to say something.
Mm-hmm. Or of the press. Everybody says, I have the freedom of the press. No, you don't. The man who owns the press has the freedom of the press.
Yeah, unless you're coming out with your own press.
Exactly. That's what we did here on InformNation. We came out with our own press.
Yeah.
So we can say that this is our press. We're free in it. And we can say what we want to say. We're not have a contract with you saying that we can only say what you want us to say. And stuff like that. Or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble.
What does it mean to peaceably assemble? Like, can they flip that on you?
Because they'll
peaceably, what do they call peace? Or like when they write like these documents and everything, like they have little definitions for all these words that they use in there.
They just turn lawyer tricks on you, where every word has like thousands of different meanings to what the word is, and depending on the context of it. But to peaceably assemble.
I mean, like, I think like those Occupy Wall Street and everything, I think that was peaceful. Mm-hmm. Like, they weren't out there with guns, they weren't shooting, anything like that, except they got pushed away. Yeah. They got pepper sprayed, they got hit, they got beat.
And the one thing that gets me is if people want to go out there and hold a sign out on the street and petition, that they can't.
Yeah.
Like, you have to go and get a permit in order to voice your opinion.
Because Uncle Sam's always got to make a buck.
I know, right?
It's like what we want to do is we want to go in front of like a DUI checkpoint, like go down the street and be like, turn, there's a DUI checkpoint. And that's freedom of speech.
Yeah.
I mean, right? I mean, that's
I'm standing on a public sidewalk with voicing my opinion, but somehow I can't do that now.
And then they would say, well, you're what do they call that? You're
restricting traffic, or you're disrupting.
No, you're interfering with a police investigate or something. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Like, you're interfering with what they're trying to do.
They'll always come out with a way to say that you can't do it now. It's just like, why?
It's BS.
People need to realize that you have freedom to do things, and like, just because it says you're supposed to go get a permit. I'm not out on the street selling anything to go make money. Like some, in the cities or something like that, there's people out there like street vendors or street performers who get permits because they're getting money for certain things that they're doing. So yeah, kind of.
But even then, I feel like you should be able to do that. I mean, like a lot of like I hear about people going down to the city, and actually I was talking to my mom's boss about this. Don, really cool guy, and they were going down to the city and they were giving out. I think it was a while ago. And they were giving out like food to the homeless or something like that. And they ended up getting like a ticket for actually going out there and giving away something for free food to people who need it. And that's taking away your right.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you did make some money off it, isn't that capitalism? Isn't that free market? Or don't we live in a free market?
I thought we did. I thought this was a free market capitalist society.
I mean, at least the corporations get to run in a free market, but what, your average citizen doesn't get to run in a free market society?
Because if you really break it down, everyone, it's not a free market.
No.
It's not anymore. It's a controlled monopoly market where certain people are allowed to make decisions on
corptocracy.
The corptocracy, the oligarchy, is allowed to make decisions on what they do for their business, but you can't go out there and make business for yourself. Mm-hmm. You have to go work for them.
The funny thing is...
What is that?
What?
Fascism.
Oh,
the merge of state and corporate powers.
Yep. And the funny thing is we want to talk about the merge of state and corporate powers, is that I was actually looking up a documentary on corporation. I think you could find it. I'll post it on the InformNation wall if I can find it here, but it's a documentary on corporations. And what it is when a corporation got set up, is that people now, or businesses were considered people now under a corporation.
So the business then has the same rights as people do?
Yeah, it's like they have rights to free trade or move without restriction and a whole bunch of things like that. So a corporation ended up becoming a free or a corporation out of becoming like a person. It's when they've made the Equal Rights Act, is because the corporations consider themselves as a person. And when that happened in the next like year or two, the Supreme Court had to hear a whole bunch of cases of the equal rights after that. And actually, I think 90%, I can't remember 100% what the numbers were here, but I believe it was about 90% of them actually were corporations that went in there and said, well, you're not treating us equally. And that's screwed up.
Yeah.
Like, how is a corporation considered a person? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And so that's what it means is, like, it's a really wicked person that corporation is. If they were considered had characteristics of a person, they'd be deceitful. They'd be, greedy. They would be, want to take over. They want to rule. They want to do everything they can, all in form of the stockholder. Yeah. And that's what corporations do. I wanted to bring up something else here that I was thinking about the other day. I had a conversation, just an enlightening conversation where I got a lot out of it, and it was about the idea of, I like to go around and I like to help people. And, as much as I think like, I can change people, and I don't really want to change people, but I want to give them the tools to change, because I can never change anybody. And I understand I'm never able to change anybody. And I was having a conversation, my one buddy was like, Alex, you can save a lot of people, but, you can't save everybody. And it's almost like the idea, well, I'm trying to save everybody, but I can't. And there's some people that you just can't save. And we were talking about bringing the drugs in to the country and having people kind of decide what they want to do. And a lot of these GMOs in the food these days, or the water, or what you eat, or the vaccines now.
Yeah.
Those are all things that people are like, oh, well, I'm going to go get it because they tell me. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of those things might not be good for you. And it's almost like those are killing us off faster. So I was almost going to come up with, like, my nutritional segment and everything is, do you want to live? Is sort of the thing, like, do you want to live? And of course the answer is yes. Everyone's like, well, that's an easy answer. It's yes, of course I want to live. But do you really want to live? Do you really want to actually go research all the things that you're doing and actually figure out what's good and what's bad for you? Because the people who aren't going to live are the people that don't go research all this.
Oh, definitely.
And they're going to go out there and, they're going to get the vaccines, they're going to go eat the GMO foods, and they're going to turn a blind eye to the truth out there, and they're not actually going to know if it's really good or bad for you. And what ends up happening is they're thinning the herd. Because supposedly if you go look at the Georgia Guidestones, it says that the planet needs to be held at 500 million people, and if everybody knows what the population is, about 7.5 billion people right now. So we're about 7 billion people over where we should be at. And we want perfect, what's it called? Perfect.
Like a utopia.
Yeah, like a utopia. Everyone's, humans are in balance with nature and everything like that. And so what he was talking about is that people are there's too many people these days, and we need to herd them out. And we need to indirectly kill people. And it's the smart ones that are going to live. And the smart ones are the ones that are going to actually go out there and eat the good food and quit the bad stuff that they're doing and not take the vaccines and all that. And I was thinking about it, and I think it's kind of, I don't know, I think it's messed up because I don't think you should indirectly kill people. But then again, like, I've had a lot of people in my life where I'm telling them something, I'm like, hey, these aren't good for you. And it's stuff that I know I've done research on and everything like that. I know it's not good for you, except they're like, oh, yeah, whatever, and they go do it anyways.
Yeah.
And it's like, am I supposed to just look at that person and be like, oh, well, whatever, screw you, like, you're going to die, and you're going to have cancer one day or something, and like, why should I care about you? You're just a dumb person, and you're going to go out there and you're going to kill yourself and not actually look into it.
That goes almost into the whole freedom thing, that, like, yeah, they're free to go do that, but because they are free to go do that, they're not making right decisions.
Yeah.
They're just making any decision they want to because they say they're free. And then there's almost a contradiction of freedom itself, and like, yeah, you're only as free as you allow other people to be free.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just a great contradiction on freedom itself.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, okay, well, supposedly these people in power, want a lot of these people to die off. And I'm not saying that this is true or anything. It's speculation, supposedly, allegedly, that there's these ruling class of people that know that the planet's kind of reaching that vicinity. I mean, for God's sake, they're controlling the water now because they know that people can't have all the water that they want, because if they did, we'd be breeding more and more people. I mean, I almost sometimes think like humans are like a cancer to the planet right now. I mean, that's screwed up, but it's almost true. Like, look what we're doing to the planet.
I know.
We're putting toxins in the water. We're putting toxins in the air. We're putting toxins in our body. Putting toxins everywhere. And almost, I'm not saying I believe this. It's just an idea. So don't take me too literally right now. But I mean, it's somewhat true. And like if you think about this whole Illuminati idea, and enlightening and bringing the earth and a new world order and everything like that, what if they're doing what needs to be done, but like
they're just not doing it in the right way?
They're not doing it in the right way, or maybe there are some people that
me thinking too.
Or maybe some people wanted, some of these people in power wanted a good life, and then some of the other people were greedy, and there's like
there's like a war in
factions. There's like a war at the top, kind of, what we should do this way or what we should do that way. And some people, want the greed, and they'll do anything, and they'll kill off the planet. And some of these people are like, well, maybe some of those things we do need to let the people die off, because it's almost like we need a purge.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it, going back to...
That's like the mass mind control of the whole purge idea with these movies. It's like subjecting everybody...
To get comfortable with the idea of a purge.
Yeah, I know. It's fucked up kind of thing. Sorry about that.
It's all good, This is live.
I'm passionate about what I say, and we are live, so...
And, I mean, the idea about the purge is like, well, we need to kill off, like, all these people, and I don't like the sound of that, because, I feel like... maybe I'm one of God's workers or whatever, and I want to help as many people as I can, and that's why we're here informing everybody on this. But if I could just make it apparent that we need to start making better decisions, or we are going to die. We are going to live up to Kesha's words. We are going to die young. How many kids these days have cancer? How many?
That's a big conversation.
And I know it's scary, and I know it's very scary. And I know a lot of people would sit on here and say, well, don't push fear on people. Well, guess what? Life's scary sometimes.
It's like you almost, I don't want to be pushing fear on people, but you need to understand that we're getting to a crossroads here.
Yeah.
And it's not fear-mongering to say that if your house is on fire, I'm knocking on your door saying, hey, the house is on fire, the house is on fire. Oh, you're just fear-monger.
Yeah.
But it's like, I need you to understand something here.
Yeah, because if we need a change, you need to understand what is going on.
You need to get hit in the face with some reality.
And it's like, people taking these vaccines and killing off all these people indirectly. And it's screwed up.
I know.
Okay, we'll talk about a fact. I won't even talk allegedly right now. I won't talk supposedly. If you all want to know something really interesting that I thought was really weird that my friend showed me, go look up a patent number on the internet. It's actually a patent number on the Ebola virus made by the U.S. government. If you go to Google Patents and search up... Here, and you know what? I'm going to actually go on my computer right now. Here we go. I'm typing it in right now. You can look this up. It's on the... Here we go. It's on Google Patents. It's actually google.com/patents. And here is the patent number. Everybody write it down because you're going to be weirded out by this. It's CA2741-523... A1. That's CA2741523A1. And what it actually says here is human Ebola virus species, compositions, and methods thereof. The U.S. government has a patent on Ebola virus set back, and it looks like about 2008, 2009.
Does everybody remember that whole Ebola thing that was going on? That whole fear-mongering thing?
Maybe that was a fear-based.
Yeah, I definitely think it was. It was definitely a fear-based to try to get more people into vaccines, to push more anti-freedom on everybody, that now you're mandatory vaccines, so where you don't have a choice on what you put in your body. Yeah. It's this. And then everybody's like, oh, well, we need to have a herd immunity. They're referring to us as a herd?
I heard it's sooner or later it's going to become illegal not to get these shots.
I know. I heard about that too.
I'm never going to get these shots. I know what they're putting in the shots. Go research it for yourself. There's mercury. Allegedly, there's mercury. Actually, no, there is. You've read the back of them.
Yeah.
You've read the back of the
insert.
insert.
I went to Dominic's, which is, a local food chain here in Illinois, Chicagoland area that isn't here anymore. They closed down. But I went to the pharmacy, and I asked the pharmacist, can I see I want you to do this yourself. Go to the pharmacy. I asked the pharmacist, can I read the insert on any of the shots, the flu shot, whatever, and actually get the paper that comes in the box and read the insert. It tells you what's in there.
It's mercury big, it's very small lettering, but it's in there.
If you read that entire thing, it tells you pregnant women should not be taking these shots. Some of the complications and side effects are Guillain-Barré syndrome, Parkinson's, paralysis, death. It'll tell you straight up in
Autoimmune,
there.
a lot of autoimmune diseases, which means it turns your immune system against you and it'll eat your body until it's
People
dead.
wondering why the cancer increases are going up, and it's crazy. It's crazy to think about.
But anyways, we'll be back with a lot more interesting information. Now, I know that might have been a little tough one for y'all to gulp down, but
You're free. You can
yeah,
think
you're
about
free.
it.
You can think about it for yourself, but we'll be back right after this. Here we are with InformNation, 23 minutes past the hour, worldwide. And I know we just hit you with a little bit of a scary fact that the United States has a patent on Ebola. And I heard just allegedly from a couple sources that they might have some patents on some other weird diseases and everything that they keep
do.
locked up.
Look it up. Go on Google and just
Yeah,
Google
go look
these
up the patents. Take your homework assignment for this week and go look up the patents on all this stuff.
That's going to be, you know what, you're a free person. You have free thought, right? You consider yourself free. Well, then use your freedom to actually benefit you. Go look up what's going on. Use this freedom for us, not against us.
Take your freedom and go spread it. Go spread your freedom.
You know, and speaking of freedom, I got two books here in front of me that are almost almost polar opposites of each other and of thought and everything like that. One is the Constitution for the United States of America and the Declaration of Independence. And the other is the Communist Manifesto. Two books that have shaped fully what the world is, on what the world's coming to, on where the world's going, and it's crazy to think that the world is almost, especially this country, I wouldn't say the world, especially this country is almost like it's starting to be a hybridization of both. There's the people that on the far left, because in the political spectrum of left and right, there's the left side, which is total control of everything, and then there's the right side, which is no control, anarchy and communism. So when we talk about left and right...
Now the question, would communism be the control of everything?
Of everything and everyone by the states.
Okay, but wouldn't that be socialism?
Socialism is just one step below communism.
Yeah.
Where there's maybe just a little bit of not control, but there's most of the control here.
But isn't communism... Isn't the idea of communism like we've never had full-blown communism in the world?
Yeah.
Like as much people think that there's been communism, there never actually has been.
Yeah.
There's been communist parties which have moved to socialism, but they've never achieved full communism.
It's like they use the idea and the thought about communism and socialism as like a tool to lure people in, but at the top they're not communist or capitalist or anything like that. They're just a bunch of monopoly men, and they got everybody down here on the bottom believing that, oh, communism is going to help everybody, it's going to make everything fair and equal, when never throughout time has anything ever been fair and equal.
You know, isn't communism, like the true meaning of communism, isn't it more along the lines of actual, almost like a family group? Like tribes used to run more communism, right? Like everyone's working for the tribe, and everyone kind of shares. It'd be like your family, like your dad pays the bills for the house, your mom does the cooking, and we all live in this little close knit. And they say communism works, but communism works on a family level, on a family level, because everyone's putting together for the household. And so that's communism, but they say communism doesn't work when you start to go broader, more broad people, more broad spectrum.
So let's give the actual definition of communism by Google. I typed in definition of communism in a Google search bar, and here we go. A political theory derived from Karl Marx, advocating class war and leading to a society in which all property is publicly owned and each person works and is paid according to their abilities and needs. So
Okay.
there really is no like what we're talking about, taking a leap of faith for yourself and being an individual and making it for yourself. It's just everybody is just paid according to their abilities and needs.
So it's like if you're good at this is what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Okay. See, so that does almost go back to like what tribes and like a family does, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it is. Because you're
Yeah.
good being the kid, your dad's good at going to this place, your mom's good at the cooking and everything like that. So communism works in a household.
Yeah, but communists can't work on a big scale because
nobody's going to want to work hard then.
People are individuals and they have their own greed and opinions about things, so therefore we can't have like a herd opinion.
Now, what if you took away the greed?
Oh, see that? But wouldn't by
See,
taking away the greed almost take away part of humanity?
I don't know.
Because greed has always been there. You always want more for yourself.
Now, but is that like a sinful thing?
I don't know. See, that's big. Yeah, maybe.
See, I don't know. Like,
That's
I mean,
like the sin of greed, you know?
like I look, you know, I'm not a communist at all. Don't take me.
Yes,
wrong.
I denounce communism.
Yeah. Don't take me at all off. You know, think I'm a communist or anything. But if you could have a society, I mean, we're talking utopia now. If you could have a society that could all work together, that could all be happy, you know, all be sustainable, and all help each other out. Like if that guy's got a Lamborghini and he lets me drive it too, and we're all together on this. And if I crash the Lamborghini, well, that guy's just gonna fix it because he's part of the group too. We're all working together, living this awesome lifestyle, all in this utopia where not one man is higher than another.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It sounds kind of good to me.
I mean, utopia always sounds good, but can utopia really ever really exist?
Now the communism of or the utopia of communism, wouldn't that sound nice?
It kind of does. It does sound appealing, but
You'd have to take away the greed. You'd have to take away that idea that, you know, I'm not going to work hard because I'm not going to get anything extra for it. But you'd have to always, you just have to instill that in people. But then you go on the other end of the spectrum, and you're looking at the free market. Well, that's letting the biggest guy control everything then.
no, but wouldn't that be a real free market? That'd be like a monopoly market.
I mean, that's what we're going in. I mean, isn't
that's
that what the opposite got turned into?
Yeah, definitely. Because like you can't even start your own business because all the other businesses are just so established they'll put you out of business.
Yeah, like Walmart with the big box or everything, not
Yeah.
letting it come into small towns and whatnot because it would kill the small towns. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what's everyone's idea about communism and capitalism or republic or democracy or a theocracy or an oligarchy or any of these? I mean, is there really a right one? Or just as human and mankind, we're doomed?
Yeah, it's like almost like the downfall of humanity itself is just that we want these great things, but everybody wants their own type of great thing, so we can't all agree on it.
It's like we all can't be master builders.
Yeah, the Lego movie.
Yeah, Lego movie is a really weird movie.
That Lego movie is very cryptic.
Yeah.
You can understand what they're really trying to push here.
In the Lego movie, it's screwed up.
If you can see the people who can't see out there, you can see it. You know what's going on.
Yeah. What's the theme song in the beginning?
Oh yeah, the little.
Everything is awesome if we're part of a team.
It's like the little.
Everything is awesome
Oh,
if you want to be all together in this dream. Something like that. And it's the Lego movie, and you know it's about everyone kind of working together, and then there's these people that have master builders.
Yeah, let's play a little Lego song.
Everything is cool when you're part of a team.
Everything is awesome.
Living our dream. Oh, I almost got it right.
Yeah.
Living our dream. Yeah, there we go.
So it gets to the point where it's like, that's kind of like the sheeple theme song. Kinda.
Yeah.
Oh, everything's awesome when we're part of a team. It's just you're not an individual, you're just part of a team.
Yeah.
So everything is awesome.
Collectivism. I don't know, man. I mean, everyone's got their different views. I mean, here we are. We could be pissing people off, or we could be making people love us for talking about this. It's like, where's the right... maybe there just isn't a right side.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what everyone has to do. Everyone just has to agree to disagree. Mm-hmm. Just live our own lives.
And be an individual.
I mean, and that's where, we want to come to InformNation with a solution. Just do you.
Yeah.
Stop worrying about what they're doing over there. If they like what they're doing, let them do it.
I know. That's the thing about America. Oh, we need to go over to the Middle East to spread democracy to them. Why? They're living their own lives.
Yeah, like allegedly, like I was talking about that Ebola virus. Allegedly, that we came out with this Ebola virus and released it in Africa just to get our troops over there. I mean, does everyone remember when we said we're like sending 5,000 troops over there to help with the Ebola virus? Why are we going to Africa?
Why are we sending troops to go fight a disease?
Supposedly it's
because...
because...
Are they going to shoot it?
Yeah, supposedly it's because we want more gold and we want more oil, and they have a lot of things to offer us.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going over there, we're making false flag things happen, and we're going over there, and we're, screwing things up.
So where's the real freedom at?
I don't
That's the
know.
main question. Where's the real freedom at in America?
And here, I'm going to bring up something here. Operation Northwoods. I mean, this is... Okay. I can actually say this is a fact because
it's true.
Here we go.
Operation Northwoods.
We have a document right here. It's even a document. You could even look it up on Wikipedia here. They have the whole document against it. But what Operation Northwoods is, I'll sum it up for you really quick, is back when John F. Kennedy was president and we wanted to go into Cuba and have a war with them.
Remember the Bay of Pigs whole
Bay
thing?
of Pigs, yeah. And what ended up happening is we needed to find a way to go into Cuba. And the way that the military-industrial complex thought about was, hey, why don't we attack American citizens on American soil and say it was the Cubans so we could go over there, like little terrorist groups, like almost like they're doing now, it sounds like.
That kind of sounds like 9/11,
Yeah, that
doesn't
sounds
it?
familiar. I don't know. There's something up with that.
Oh, we
I
just
don't know.
got attacked, so it's that people, and instantly, like the day of, it's them.
Yeah.
Like the day of, we
Yeah,
just
how'd you know it was them? Yeah, you already knew it, like 13 minutes later after it happened. Like, I don't know, maybe you knew it was going to happen before it. I don't know. But anyways, we needed to figure out a way to go over there, so the Joint Chiefs of Staff and everything met with John F. Kennedy and said, hey, we need to kill American citizens in order to get into Cuba. It's beneficial, we need to do it. And John F. Kennedy said, no, I'm not for that. I'm not for killing American citizens.
And then they also came to him and said, hey, we need to go to Vietnam, and we need to do the stuff over here in Vietnam as well. And he was like, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to drive America into Vietnam.
Yeah, so, I mean, you have a president that stood up and said that I'm not going to do this, and I'm not going to kill American citizens. I'm not going to go into a little war zone that's corrupt. And he spoke out against it. I mean, we played that clip last week where we talked about John F. Kennedy speaking out against a big conspiracy. And I know a lot of people like to call this, conspiracy talk and everything, but there are a lot of documents out there. If you just put in a little bit of research and a little bit of time, you can find these things. Like, we're not as crazy as you probably think we are because we do research.
And actually, speaking of Kennedy, they came out with the word, the FBI, look it up right now on Google, the Google origin of the word conspiracy theorist. The FBI came out after the whole John F. Kennedy assassination, 1963 FBI document, clearly declassified, you can look it up yourself, saying that anybody who questions the official story behind anything is considered a conspiracy theorist. And that's almost of a way to just keep people on a fringe group where it's saying, those people are crazy, don't listen to them, they're just conspiracy theorists. Mm-hmm. When they're trying to bring up other valid points about things. But to the establishment, there is no valid point besides the given statement.
Yeah, it's messed up. It's like if I speak out against anything, I'm a conspiracy
theorist. And that's just a way to discredit you.
I don't like the people, it's not that I don't like the people, but I feel bad for the people.
And it's like, you call me a conspiracy theorist, but hey, I have freedom. Yeah. I have the freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And therefore, I can say what I would like to say.
Yeah.
And not be restricted and called names and shot down.
But then they have the right to
disagree with you. Yeah, there you go. There's enough freedom on the other side.
Yeah, you got freedom on the other side. They have the right to disagree with you. They have a right to think what they want. They have a right to go along with what's going on right here in society. And, like I said before, who really knows what freedom is? I don't really think there is a definition of freedom. And I think when you think about the definition of what they say freedom is, freedom of thought and everything like that, it's subjective.
Yeah.
Freedom is so subjective. From one country to the next, to one person to the next, freedom's subjective. And if you're having a populace of people that kind of ultimately agree with a certain thing, then maybe that's freedom to them. And who are we to say that you aren't free?
Yeah.
It's like, who am I to say that the population's not free? I'm just bringing another side. I'm just talking.
It's just that they come out and say that, we need to go over there to bring them freedom.
Yeah.
What if they don't want the type of American freedom?
Yeah.
What if they don't want that? What if they just want to live their lives?
It's like, I was thinking,
who are we to tell them?
I was thinking, the whole terrorists and everything thing, and people might hate me for this, too, but whatever. You can hate me. It's cool.
It's your freedom.
Yeah, it's my freedom. It's your freedom to hate me, too. So, with the terrorist thing and everything, would you be mad, let me say this, we live in America, would you be mad if, for instance, Iraq was sending over drones over in our area and bombing subdivisions because certain political leaders maybe lived in there that they didn't like, and they were bombing us, and they were actually killing innocent people while they were doing it.
And Iraqis and all these other countries sent troops over here to America to just sit around and
control us.
And control what we're doing and what we're doing. Of course people would be mad.
So, if you think about it, I think there are going to be some of your extremists, Islamic people, that are going to go, just do it because they love killing people or something like that, and they think they're totally right and righteous to do it. And then I think there's your other ones that are pissed off at us. Yeah. Get out of my business. America, get out of here. What are you doing? This is our way of living. Let us handle it for ourselves. Mm-hmm. It's like being in a situation, you got a friend and another friend getting in an argument about something that has nothing to do with you, and trying to tell them how to work it out.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you're not involved in this. Get out of it. It's like, don't worry about it. This is me. This is what I'm doing over here. You're not a part of it. Stay out of it. And like some of these terrorists, I think, are getting pissed off at America for going over there and killing their people and everything like that. And I get it. Oh, we're the police. They were treating their people wrong. Saddam Hussein was gassing his own people and mustard gassing
all the propaganda, the war propaganda.
Is it true? I don't know. I mean, is it? There's propaganda that makes us go against these nations.
Yeah.
They say, I was asking my friend the other day, the IMF, International Monetary Fund. Countries that don't have them, America's against, supposedly.
Yeah.
Like Russia doesn't have an international monetary fund, China doesn't have an international monetary fund, and that's why we view those people in American society as somewhat of an enemy.
Yeah.
Because they don't agree with us. It's like, well, great, they don't agree with us. That's great. That's their freedom not to agree with us, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's what I would assume.
That's the big thing about America is that when we started becoming the world police, we started caring about what everybody else was doing and started not caring about what's going on here in America and what can we do better about it. Everybody's just like, oh, we need to worry about that side of the country over there. Let's worry about what's going on in America here.
Yeah,
it ain't going too well.
You get all these people like, oh, you like Oprah Winfrey. I want to go open up schools in Africa and everything. Why don't you open up schools in downtown?
Yeah. Why don't you help these Chicago public schools that are going bankrupt?
Yeah.
And they're closing these schools and putting these kids out on the street. Mm-hmm. But no, we need to go fund schools in other countries.
Yeah.
It's like,
why don't you worry about our own area? You live here. You wanted to come here, so do it.
Yeah.
And you know the other thing I was thinking about, I was talking to someone the other day about, was actually, and I think we were talking about Hector next door, the cleaners.
Mm-hmm.
I work next to a cleaners. I work at GNC, and then there's a cleaner next door. But Hector always comes in, and me and him are good friends. And, you know, we're talking about all these immigrants and everything coming to America, and they all want, like, oh, I want things written in Spanish, I want things written in Greek, I want things written in Arabic.
Yeah.
I want all these things, but you came to America.
Yeah.
Like, live by the American way or get out of here.
They came here to be in America,
Yeah.
but they want America changed for them.
Yeah, it's like, why did you came here to change things? I thought you came here because you liked our way of living.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to go do your things, you're just going to turn this place into what you had back home, and it's going to be killed off then.
Yeah.
It's like, shut up, sit down, and love the American way. No, I'm just kidding.
It's kind of true. It's like you come here to this country, but you want to change to your old country. Like, this is America. This is the way. It's a melting pot. It's a freedom for all to come here and embrace American freedoms, to be yourself, to be an individual, to work, to be basically to be yourself. But they come here with these old type of, with their country's type of ideologies, which most countries in the world are not free like America is, and they're coming here to change all that.
It's like the healthcare. It's like going and saying, okay, well, Canada does this, or back in my country, I used to live in Poland, or I used to live in Europe, somewhere over there, or in Germany, and saying, well, I get free healthcare and everything, and that's what we want over here. We want big. Well, you see how your country is, and you see how America is. Why do you want that? It's like I hear supposedly in a couple documentaries say this is that. Like that, what's that guy, Michael Moore? Michael Moore's documentary.
Like that guy.
A lot of these countries, like they're waiting like 2 weeks to get into the doctor's office.
Yes, actually, I have an actual personal experience with that. My mom's cousin, right? He lives in Canada. He passed away, but he was like 80-something years old. He told my mom that he had to go for a heart test, just a routine test to test his heart. You know how long he waited for that? 6 weeks.
Holy smokes.
You know why? Because in a socialist type of healthcare, you gotta, because everybody gets healthcare, right? You just gotta, you now have to get in line. Oh, well, everybody gets healthcare, so jump in line. There's already 1,000 people in front of you. You now have to wait. In free market, a capitalist type of America, where you pay for your insurance, that, okay, since you pay, and you're a payer person for the insurance company, you get to go now.
Yeah.
Not now, you don't have to jump in line.
Yeah. Why don't we just like have like healthcare places where you could go and you can get free? I think we had this before, like hospitals, a certain amount of hospitals are supposed to do a certain amount of free work or something like that.
Yeah, people don't understand that.
And then they have like the Medicare place and everything like that. Well, why don't we just like have these couple little places, and instead of ushering in this Obamacare, is have these couple little places that do free healthcare for the people who can't afford it.
Yeah.
And for the people that can afford it, us and everything, then we're going to pay for it and we're going to get stepped right in front of the line. Now, if you can't, now maybe you're going to have to wait a week. but that was your decision on not getting a better paying job or not working harder or not striving for more.
Because you work at McDonald's, but you just want $15 an hour.
And it's like you want to be lazy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like John F. Kennedy says, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Now, how has that changed in the recent years? We're always asking now, country, what can you do for me? Can you give me more health care? Can you give me more money? Can you give me a job? Can you give me this? Can you give me that? You know what? It's like that one movie, Caddyshack. It's like you're going to get nothing and like it.
Yeah.
It's like you're asking for all this. Well, guess what? Go out there and work for it.
And just strive for it yourself.
Yeah.
Don't
if you
just
want
sit
certain
here.
things, get that mental ability to actually discipline yourself and go out there and do that. It's only your own fault.
But that's what most people have fallen victim to, is the whole welfare type of society where you have now abdicated responsibility for yourself, so you give responsibility to them to help you out. And what is that being? Like a child to a parent. When you're a child to a parent, the child is subject to what the parent wants and everything like that.
But anyways, we'll be back. We'll be finishing up with our ending little segment. We'll give a little homework assignment, chit-chat a little bit more about what we've been chit-chatting about. But right after this, we'll be right back with InformNation. Well, hello. This is InformNation Radio, and here we are broadcasting out of the upper states of England.
Hello. This is our British segment.
I'm not going to do it. Sometimes I go off with doing the British voice, and it starts turning into something else, and then I'm like, well, I don't know where I'm at anymore. But anyways, this week's episode was talking about freedom. This week's episode was exposing a couple things that are out there in the world that maybe we didn't know about before.
Mm-hmm.
Through all of this and through all of what we're talking about is that, I don't think anybody has the right idea on any of these things. I don't think I have the right idea. I don't think David does. I don't think anybody does. And I think that's where it starts to become subjective. And I think we should always do this. And I think we should always have the opposing sides debate and not even having somebody win, because it's not about having somebody win.
Yeah.
It's
like we kind of almost need that devil's advocate out there that's going to help, that's going to bring that other side out, so you're not always thinking that you're right, that there's only one side to every story, because everybody knows there's two sides to every story.
Yeah, it's the duality.
And that almost comes with freedom itself. It's like there's two sides to freedom, and it's basically it's upon the individual.
Yeah, it's like how good would good be if there was no evil? You would never know how good society could be, or how good you can be, or what good actually is if you didn't have evil. I mean, the other side always kind of brightens up the other side.
Yeah.
It's the duality thing, light and dark. Well, what would light be if darkness wasn't there? It would just be...
Everybody would just know light, and that would be it.
It's like nothing could be perfect.
There really is no utopia.
No.
Everybody has the idea of utopia. Everybody wants to strive for a utopia. But see, everybody's just striving for a utopia and not realizing what's really going on and how we can live at that level where we're not at the utopia extreme, and we're not at the dystopia extreme.
We gotta live in the middle. We gotta walk that fine line.
Buddhist philosophy is living the middle way, the middle path.
Life is a roller coaster. We're always gonna have our ups and downs, but we always want to come back to that plane. We always want to come back to our base level where we're grounded. And, we're not trying to destroy ourselves. We're not trying to hate that guy over there. We're all trying to be peaceful. Mm-hmm. And, us here talking about this, a lot of people could agree, disagree, and I agree with both of you.
Yeah, it's your freedom.
The reason being is because, as much as, I'll say one thing, I'll think about the other side and be like, well, I guess I could understand it from that side of it. And it's weird to think like that, but, it's the agreeing to disagree. Not everyone's going to agree with me, and... it just is what it is sometimes, and all we can do is talk about it. Because as long as we're talking about it, at least it's out there. Yeah. At least we're putting all the tables on the idea and letting people decide for themselves. Instead of just giving them one way of thinking, we're letting everybody decide. We're letting everybody have their own point of view.
Yeah.
And that's freedom, I think, is giving everybody their own side.
The freedom to choose what side you really want to be on.
Or the freedom to take no sides if you don't want to. You don't have to be on a side. You could just be doing you. And if that person says something good today, well, you know what? I agree with that person today. And if the other side, to the right side says something good today, then I'm going to agree with you.
Yeah.
And I think those rights and those lefts and everything like that meet in the middle and be like, I'm going to have a middle party. That's what we should do. We should run for office.
And call it the middle party.
We'll call ourselves the middle.
We're not left.
We're not left. We're not right.
We're in the middle.
We're in the middle.
And that's where, America really stands on the whole political spectrum, when left is the total control of everything of communism, and the right is the absolute control of nothing, which is anarchy, and right in the middle is the constitutional republic of the United States of America, where there is control over some things, but there's not control over everything, and you have that decision to make. Is there control or is there not control?
Yeah, I don't know. This whole freedom thing, I don't think we actually came down to what is freedom. I think freedom's just, freedom, we figured out what freedom is. It's subjective.
Yes.
Freedom's very subjective. You want to know what freedom is? It's subjective to each and every person. Your idea of freedom, my idea of freedom, it's all different, baby. It's all different. We all have a different side. And not anybody's right. So if you think you know what freedom is, you're probably so far off of what freedom is because nobody knows what freedom is.
It's because you have your idea of what freedom is, and you want everybody to have your idea of freedom. And then that's not freedom, because you're just taking someone else's freedom away by imposing your idea of freedom.
And so that's not right either then. So just sit there, take everything with a grain of sand or a grain of salt, whatever the saying is, and just let it be. Just do you. Like we said on other shows, just do you. Think what you want to do. Free living, free spirit, man. Just get out there, experience life.
But don't be like too free-spirited where you just don't care about anything else.
You got to be proactive. You definitely have to be, because we got some people out there that are like, oh man, you don't even care, man.
Free
you got to care about your brothers and sisters out there that are either getting stomped on or whatever, and you got to stand up for those people.
You can be free living and free living and love and everything, but you have to be proactive in what's going on.
Spread the word, spread the good word.
Exactly. Be free, be open.
The funny thing is this all ties back to this idea that I have, is that there's good and evil, and then we really, everything's subjective. So is evil really evil, or is it like if someone on the other side of the spectrum, like if you had the spectrum of good on one side and evil on the other side, and you look towards the evil side, and you were like, oh well, those guys are evil there because they believe this, this, and this. But that guy on the other side of the spectrum that's really evil looks at your good, and he's like, well, that's really evil.
Yeah.
And so it's like
nobody wakes up in the morning to thinks when they wake up, I'm going to do evil, I'm going to have evil thoughts, I'm going to do evil things.
Yeah, they're just doing what they do.
Yeah.
And they all have their own moral code, their moral values, and it's all different through each and every person.
And it's just subjective upon yourself to look at it and say, I don't agree with that, therefore it's evil.
Yeah.
So just like that person would say, hey, I don't agree with that, therefore that's evil.
Yeah.
So what really is good and what really is evil?
I don't think there is a good and there is an evil. I think it's all
comes
just
with the freedom of thought.
Yeah, it's just there's this big thing that's just good and evil and pluses and minuses and pros and cons and all that, and it's
the beauty of life.
And that's life.
Yeah.
There you go. That's what life is. It's the pluses, it's the minuses, it's this, it's the that. It's just there. And that's what it is. And you make your way through this, I don't know what it is. I have no idea. It's the universe, it's the heavens, it's the earth, it's the star. I don't know.
It's the freedom to be you.
Yeah, it's like there's always another end to everything. Just like talk about matter. There's an antimatter.
Yeah.
And so when antimatter and matter meets, they go into nothingness. So, there's always an opposite end. There's dark energy, dark matter, all this, even talking in scientific terms, there's always an opposite. So think about what we have here, and then think about the opposite. Because they're right just as well as you are. It's
Who is to say right and wrong?
Yeah, there's no right and there's no wrong. It's just is what it is. And I think that's when we came to the conclusion of freedom today, is keep on believing what you believe.
Yeah.
Just question it. I think that's just the best thing that we can do, is just question it.
Because if you don't believe in something, you'll fall for anything.
Yeah, so, do your research, look inside yourself, like we had on a previous show, look inside yourself and see what you believe in, see where you line up with, and then line up with that. Mm-hmm. And it's always going to change, don't get me wrong. My beliefs change from day to day to day to day.
Yeah, that's true, depending on my experiences throughout life.
Depending on my mood, man.
Yeah, I might have a
maybe I'm-
bad day, so
yeah.
I'm thinking, everybody, screw everybody. Like,
Yeah, maybe I'm pissed off. Like, God damn those people out there. Like, screw them. I don't even care about them. And then, like, next day he's like, no, man. I really love everybody, man. Peace and worship, man. Mankind, dude. Let's just put a flower in our ear and just smoke a doobie to this sweet Jimi Hendrix song right now. and that's what freedom is. Yeah, I don't know about that. That's just subjective again, but you know what? Let's do the homework assignment this week.
The homework assignment for this week.
Let's do the homework assignment this week, and then it's about school time here.
Yeah,
so,
I know all you people on spring break are thinking, oh, school's out for summer, for spring break.
Not anymore. We're back to school again.
Not on InformNation. There is no spring break. So here we go, the school segment. School time.
Homework.
Everybody needs to get out of their stuff for PCB, Panama City Beach, get off the drunkenness.
Come
and
back
get
to reality
school.
for a second. Here we go. So homework for this week. What are we gonna do? We're gonna talk
I think we should
about
have like a little 2 homework assignment.
what are we gonna do? One, go check out vaccines, patents.
Go look up some patents on vaccines. Look at the dangers of vaccines. Go to the pharmacy, get that insert, read it, figure out for yourself, be free, and understand what's going on. And also, I'm going to have 2 questions out there that I want everybody to write down and think about. What are some things that make you free? That's one big question. And the second, another little question, what are some things that make you not free? Hit a little 2 sides to the spectrum.
Those are good questions. And then write them out. Write your pros and your cons. And
then write them out. That's big. Because you can just sit there and think in your head, blah, 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 blah. But when you write it
in
out,
front of you,
then you have to conquer it. And you have to challenge it.
And I think that'll kind of show you on a personal level if you're free. Because maybe you might be living in a free country, but you're not free.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the thing. You might be living in a free country, but you might not be free. Or you might be living in a communist bloc country where you think those people aren't free, but maybe in their mind they are free.
Subjective.
It's so subjective, and I think that's what we figured out on today's episode is there's never a right answer. There's never a right answer to freedom. Yeah. No matter who tries to say they're right, they're so wrong.
But overall, I would say I would want to live in America under the Constitution.
You know who I like? I like the guy that contradicts himself. I like that guy. I like the guy. Well, I like the guy that contradicts himself because it's always changing.
He's always thinking.
He's always he's always thinking, and it's always a different. To each and every topic, it's always changing. It's always different. Things change from one day to the next. And I think contradicting yourself is a big thing in finding yourself. Because like what I thought one day might not be true the next. Or what, like even in nutrition, like I work in nutrition, what might work for one person or this plan works might not work for the rest. So I might preach this and say, oh, well, you guys need to do this, this, and this. But maybe that person's body doesn't align with that. So I need to go back and say, well, do this, this, and it's like contradiction.
Yeah.
And so I think that's, I like the guy who's true to himself, he believes, he contradicts himself, he researches, he looks within himself, and then he finds himself.
And that's true freedom.
And I think that's a freedom. That's your thought, everything like that. So I think we should all celebrate our freedom, and we don't need to have 4th of July to celebrate our independence or our freedom.
There's a big thing right there. I'm going to bring that up real quick. How come we just call it the 4th of July?
Yeah.
How come we're not calling it what it's really called?
Independence Day.
Independence Day.
Because we are independent.
Yeah.
Each and every one of us is independent in our own thoughts, independent in our own actions.
But they don't want, there's a big they. The power structure, the people that's with this communist system, they don't want you to be independent.
Yeah, so then next week, we'll talk about they.
Yeah.
We'll bring they up next week. We'll tell you all about they.
And
I think they will be a good topic.
If you know about they, drop us a message, drop us a line. Let us know what you think.
Hey, let us know what you want us to talk about next week. I mean, we're going to talk about they a little bit, but if you have something else that is totally cooler than talking about they, then we'll take it and we'll run with it.
Not even if it's not cool than talking about they. If you have any idea,
we'll talk about it.
That you want brought up, let's talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
This is InformNation.
But until next week, we're going to have a nice little week here. Today's my birthday, so we're going to go out, do a little celebrating here. Yeah. We're going to celebrate our freedom. I'm going to celebrate my thought, but tune in next week and find out who they is.
Now, don't forget, support the sponsors, support the other shows.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to all the shows, Cop Talk.
Coming up here, 6 o'clock, yes.
Yeah, there we go. So everyone, have a good week and have a great week. And, it's Monday.
Be free!
Be free! Let freedom ring! Goodbye, everybody.